Alrighty, and welcome back to another live stream with NOVAtazz and his buddies. This is NOVAtazz Automotive Podcast, Season 2, Episode 25. And I see we already have Pilot in the chat, and I've got 2 likes. That is amazing to see right off the bat. Let me adjust my camera there a little bit. Alrighty, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? Oh, glad to be back for another week. I think we actually did pretty good last week, even though we had a late start. Sorry, Pilot, if you missed us in the very beginning, because I know I didn't start till like 10:30. But we are here 9 p.m. right off the bat. Hopefully there is no hiccups. Hopefully we have everybody. Everything's going good. Hopefully. No screw ups. Another 1 week we didn't go live at all on time because I didn't hit the go live button. It seems to be always something. Hopefully this week it's pretty smooth. How you doing, Pilot? You got your cam, huh? Does that mean you're finally willing to maybe make an appearance up here up on the actual live? Hold on. I literally just walked in the door like 10 minutes ago and set all this up, so excuse me if I'm still getting stuff a little together. Alright, so maybe a little bit later in the show we'll have you up on here, because I know you're here for normally a good while. You using a laptop or a PC, or I'm guessing obviously not your phone if you got a cam. And as long as you have a Chrome browser, you should be okay. Everything else is handled by StreamYard. You both still have to be able to have the live stream itself open so you can follow the chat. And yeah, other than that, you mainly only need the StreamYard. A little weird how I do things versus most streamers. I don't actually use StreamYard to do the actual live stream. Just use it as a platform for the video call. I'd actually probably open both these. I'm not going to. I'll get this up out of my way. Don't worry about it. You don't need to install anything, unlike Discord. I do have Discord, but I don't use Discord to stream with. StreamYard is a streaming service, but since they got rid of Google Hangouts, I tend to use StreamYard as my video call. Because Discord doesn't let me do the things I need to do. It's great for an actual just a chat, but getting multiple people up on screen at once is not easy with Discord. At least none that I've seen so far. Don't worry, I'll send you a link. All you need to do is click the link and put your information in and have your camera plugged in and pointed in the right direction. And you need to make sure you have everything muted besides the StreamYard. Otherwise we'll get an echo and distortion, which I'm sure you've seen on here before. I'm not quite sure who we'll have today. I'm sure Big E will be on at some point. As far as anyone else, I'm not quite positive. Guess we'll find out. Well, hey, you want to come up here and come chit chat now? I don't think I have you on Facebook, so I'll have to send the link here. And then, or actually, search NOVAtazz on Discord. You can find me there. I can send you the link there. In fact, actually, I think you can find, should be able to find my Discord in the description of this video. Ugh. Pretty sure I have a link to it down there. If I don't, let me know. How is everyone else? Make sure I have Discord open. I do. All right, no link. You didn't see that.
If your roof is over
Oops. I love ads. So many windows open. Oops. I send a friend request. I want to. Sorry, trying to figure out what I'm doing here. Invite people. Here we go. All right, there is the. There's the link. Alrighty. That's okay, Grim. We hear you. Trying to set up Pilot here to get Pilot up on the up here, up there on stage with me. So that is the link to the Discord. I don't know why it's not down in the description. Of course, I can't see any of that on this one. I can try here. Sorry for the slow start, guys. Why won't it go to my channel? Just wants to see the link. Good, are muted. Picture on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Oh, you're right, it's not there. Huh. I'll have to add that. Did we get a... Yes, we did. All right, let's get you that link. Invite, copy, close that. Discord. Close that. Go to here. Move this up. Paste this. Enter. You need to click the link that I sent in the Discord. That will take you to the thing where you can set up your cam. And that's okay. I got patience. I got all the time in the world. Oh, there we go. I see a pilot. Let's get him up here on the stream. Well, welcome aboard, pilot. Howdy, howdy, howdy. I should be able to hear you. I hear you. I heard you open your mouth. All right, make sure you have the live stream turned down so that way we don't have an echo.
All right, make sure you have the live stream turned down so that way we don't have an echo.
Just go into YouTube and mute YouTube. You won't need to hear from YouTube itself. Just keep it open for the chat.
There we go. I think I got it.
Yeah, I don't think I hear myself in the background anymore.
No.
Well, you have been watching my live stream for well over a year.
Yep.
Finally have you up here on screen. Hopefully we'll have our other buddies up here eventually. Like I said, I normally have my guys keep the YouTube feed open so they can respond in chat and see, what's going on in the chat. Because if you notice, up here on StreamYard, it doesn't say we're live. Because we're not actually live on StreamYard. I'm actually only copying an image of that window. I'm actually using OBS to actually go live with. So I'm cheating a little bit.
That's okay.
So, because Streamlabs don't have the platform that I need to use, and since they got rid of Google Hangouts, we had a really nice platform to be able to do multiple window chats. We're going to have multiple people up on screen at the same time. Since they did away with that, I was using Skype for a little bit, but Skype was too computer intensive. Not only for me, but also for the people that were joining. This one is nice and light. It uses almost no bandwidth at all, which is good for the people joining, that we don't lose them all the time, and it's good for me because I'm running 3 or 4 programs right now. So how's it feel to be up on cam?
Well, I've been waiting for this for a long time. You know that.
Yes.
I've tried.
It's a shame though we don't have Chris or Big E or anybody else up here just yet.
Well,
they probably pop in a little bit later. I did just only send out that link literally 8:54, 8:55, somewhere around there. I'd actually started the live stream up to do the countdown before I even sent the link out for everybody to come join, because I literally just came home 10 minutes before 9.
Okay.
So I literally came home, threw the groceries in the house, came up here, started the live stream, and went downstairs and finished the stuff I need to do, got my beer, and because that's why I have that 10-minute window. So that 10-minute window gives me time to make sure that everything's up and going. Is that the that's the caddy.
That's my baby.
Nice.
It's not focusing very well, but
It's focusing enough. We can tell what it is. Is that a Samsung S7?
5.
That's a 5. I have a 5 sitting right here.
It's
There's,
pretty.
there's
It's,
my 5 right there.
okay.
I have
It's
a
called
5. I
it's called
have,
Purple Metallic
huh?
and tan leather. That's all I can say.
Yeah. We all see my cars. They're plastered all over our YouTube channel. So, uh,
This this was a sad day.
is that your vet? Oh, and it's red. Is that the one that blew up?
Yeah.
Kind of looks
Well,
like Street Speed's the one that he had.
not blown up, locked up.
Well, locked up, blown up, pretty much the same thing.
It doesn't make any difference.
It don't run.
The results are the same.
Yeah. If you watch Street Speed 717, he had one that looked just like that for a little while. And I don't know if you've ever followed a channel called Jimbo's Channel. He had a red one that was wrapped in a crazy white, black, and red, like, urban camo. It was all kinds of weird squigglies and shapes and stuff like that. That thing was mean. He actually still has it. Well, he doesn't have it particularly. He sold it to a gentleman that said that he could have it back whenever he was ready to have it back because he hit a really rough spot. There you go. Black interior. See, I never liked the ones with that body seam. The black body seam that went all the way around.
You have to take care of them.
Well, yeah.
You have to take care of the seam. If you keep it black, it doesn't look bad. If you let it get all gray and stuff, it's
Yeah, I like the ones that came out the same generation, but where they got rid of the seam. It was that was a later run for those cars. Your camera's having trouble focusing on you now that it was focusing on your phone.
yeah. I don't believe they got rid of the seam. I believe they got rid of the molding. They
Okay.
made it a color.
I don't know. It looks like it's one solid piece down the side on the later ones. But the ZR1s from
Come on.
the later half of that generation are like my favorite from that gen.
Okay.
Especially that dark maroon that they had.
Oh, that 40th anniversary one. Jeez, the ruby.
Yeah.
I would love to have one of those.
Oh, Corvettes are really. I mean, I like Corvettes, but unfortunately, unless something, I don't know if I'd be able to, like I like the late versions of the Stingray. Not because of, I knew that they had all kinds of mechanical and electrical issues, but the body style of the 81, 82.
Okay.
I love that body style. It's like, they just have to get rid of the bumperettes that they had to put on them. On those
I don't
gens.
know what you mean with that.
They had the vertical pieces in the front and in the back for crash that they had to implement in the late 70s, early 80s on those cars. I don't have. Maybe I might be able to get a picture of one. See if I can get a good picture of one.
Now, if anybody else shows up, are they going to be?
They'll just sandwich on up in there.
Just fill in.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't on the 82s. Was it the late 70s ones? Because the 82 ones don't have it. You're right. Let's try 78. No, 78s don't have. Yeah, the 78s do. Let's see if I can get a good shot of one. If you look at the very tip of the nose there, you see the bumperettes.
Yeah.
I don't like those. I think it really messes up the look of the front of that car. But the body lines of those late 70s, early 80s Stingrays are just absolutely gorgeous. Obviously, the performance was not there, but
GM.
Huh?
It was the feds. It's not GM.
Well, I know it's not. It's just like the bumpers on my 77 Nova. You know, everybody hated those big, what they call the big bumpers on like the 73 on up.
Okay.
Because they had to they have to implement those bumper shocks for the under 35-mile-an-hour crashes.
Yeah.
Basically, it has a small crumple zone inside of the frame. You bolt this cylinder inside the frame, and it takes the impact of under 35-mile-an-hour accidents, and it crumples in that what they call a bumper shock before it transfers that energy to the body of the car itself. But they had to implement those, and versus like the 72 and older, where the bumpers are pretty much more tucked and thinner. The later ones are pretty, like mine. They stick out quite a bit. It's like about a 3-inch gap between the front nose and where the front of the bumper starts. A lot of people today, what they'll do is they'll actually drill out those bumper shocks and push them all the way in, basically tucking the bumper up to the car. I don't know if I necessarily like the look of that because they're still wide. You know what I mean? So unless you sectioned it and brought the bumper in too, it just looks funny because the edge of the bumper sticks out a lot farther from the fender than the front does from the grill. It just looks disproportioned at that point. I caught a message. I don't know what it was. Oh, nothing. Oh, so I mean, and GM and all manufacturers have to put up with that. It's like the new Challengers. Why do they look fat and heavy? Well, because of today's crash regulations, they can't have the door that low as they did in the early.
And they're fat and heavy.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, all cars are fat and heavy today. I mean, they talk about the freaking old school cars being freaking lead sleds. They may be heavy, but you strip out a new car, the excess weight in a new car is ridiculous. I mean, like your Cadillac. If you actually took out the wiring harness for your Cadillac and put it on a scale, you're talking close to 100, if not over 100 pounds, just in wiring. You can take the whole wiring harness out of my Trans Am, and it might weigh 20, maybe 10, 15, 20 pounds.
But actually, what I have, my CTS is called the 3rd generation.
Right.
That lost 300 pounds from the 2nd generation.
Oh,
my doors are aluminum.
Go ahead.
All four doors are aluminum. The trunk is aluminum. I believe the hood is.
All right. They find ways of lightening them up, but I mean, the thing is just the weight and electronics and modern conveniences that are in those cars compared to the old school cars. I stripped out my Nova. My Nova had nothing in it that was, I mean, it had speakers and stuff like that, but I mean, like, it had no sound deadening in it, none of that stuff. My car weighed right around 3,000 pounds.
Okay.
Which I think stock weight is like 3,200 pounds, 3,300 pounds, somewhere around there. Today's cars weigh well over like 4,000 pounds. So today's cars are definitely a lot heavier than the old school cars. And it's not necessarily the body, because the bodies probably do weigh less. It's everything people are stuffing inside of them. All the conveniences.
Yep.
I mean, you take a seat out of my Trans Am and you take your seat out of your CTSV. Which one do you think is heavier?
Well, considering all the power stuff.
Yeah. I know that, like, when they take the seats out of, like, the Camaros and Mustangs to go drag racing, because that's what a lot of people do, they'll pull out the passenger side seat and the rear seat when they go drag racing. They can literally save themselves almost 200 pounds just by removing the seats. And that's something you can, like, remove and put back without, having to majorly alter the car.
Sure.
I mean, the other thing they do is then they strip out the interior, which saves them even more weight. Whereas if you were to strip out the interior of an old car, I don't know if you would save enough weight to make that effort worth doing and undoing constantly.
Yep.
Carl says, which, by the way, Carl is a new subscriber. He has followed me from the channel versus for my Trans Am videos. He says he's 07 Daytona hauls ass. Yeah, well, they are way faster than the old Trans Ams. I mean, you got to think about it though. You know, a stock 77 to 79 Trans Am made only even if it had the Pontiac 400 in it, the engine itself maybe made 180 to 220 horsepower from like 77 to 79, which was last year for the big engines. Now the 220 horsepower, that was the special SE engine. That would have been the Pontiac 400 with the Pontiac 350 heads on it, which was only in select SE models with a 4-speed manual. You couldn't get that engine in an automatic. You couldn't get that engine with the Oldsmobile 4. Well, obviously not with the Oldsmobile 400, but you had to have an SE and it had to have a 4-speed for you to end up with one of those cars with those engines in it. And there wasn't very many of them. Most people had like the 160 to 180 horsepower engines in them. The car that's sitting behind me that has the 76 400, even those didn't have much more than 200 horsepower. But they had like 400 and some foot-pounds of torque. You know, they were torquey monsters. So back then, that's what got them off the line. That's what got them out in front was the horsepower. No, I mean, it was the torque. But I mean, most of the cars from that time weren't making much more than 200 horsepower ever. I mean, the 79 the 79 Corvette, I think only made like 120 horsepower. It was pretty sad. Huh?
It was not a lot.
No, it was not. And that's why the 79 Trans Am basically spanked everybody on the horsepower, the Hot Rod magazine and Motor Trend magazine tests and all that, because they were still working with a lot of torque and a lot of horsepower, because they refused to like everybody else was running 350s and 305s. You know, Pontiac was still running the 400s.
Well, even my 85 only had 230 horse, but it had...
Well, they were still figuring out fuel injection back then, too.
Yeah, but it had 330 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, that son of a bitch got up and went. I'm sorry.
Right, and those Corvettes weren't that heavy.
No.
The 84s, they were pretty light.
85.
That whole early part of that generation, you know, they all weighed about the same. 185 in the 403, the 440, the 400 Pontiac 220. Yeah, that's 220 for, I think, yeah, for the majority of 400s. The 400s with 403, with 350 heads, the Pontiac 350 heads, they made a lot more horsepower, and yes, you can only find them in SE Trans Ams. And Pontiac will not admit that they did it. But there is definitely proof out there that they were done that way. There were select engines out there where they just put smaller heads on them, and it brought the compression way up. Against emission rules, but...
I was watching Rick Conti on YouTube this week.
He's the one with the Corvette channel, right?
Yeah. He's a car dealer in Ohio.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, I know he is. I have him on my subscription list. Don't watch him too often, but I do watch a few of his videos.
A very, very interesting story on the 83 Corvette, the only one in existence that's in the museum.
Yeah, because they never actually ran that production because they didn't have the car finished enough to where they wanted to release it.
It wasn't ready, but the only reason that this particular one is in the museum is the guy that was in charge of crushing all the 83 Corvettes got a new set of boots. That's all I'm going to say.
Somebody paid him off to freaking keep it, huh?
No.
No?
Nope. He thought he was going to get fired.
Right.
But it was a new set of boots that saved that one 1983 Corvette.
I gotta figure out what that story is then. That sounds interesting. Oh.
It's in this last week, if not the maybe last weekend, but it's there and it's told well.
Yeah. I'm actually wearing it's just a 6 shirt that I just picked up. When I first started watching his channel, he had a what was it? Is it a 5th gen Camaro? It was just a regular base Corvette, and he had that one when he first started, and not when he first started, but by the time I caught on to him, he was still a small channel at that point. Then he got that black Mustang that he has, and that's when his channel blew up. But he put out shirts that say "Been here since the Camaro," so I had to pick one up. Because it's like when you have those subscribers that have been there from when you were small. I mean, technically, right now I'm small. I have just under 1,900 subs, so I'm not big. I'm not Rick Conti big. I'm definitely not Street Speed big.
We still love you.
That's definitely it definitely makes you feel good. I mean, I've been here for a while. I never expect to blow up, because, like I said, I've been here for a long, long time.
Well, I've been here over a year.
Huh?
I've been here over a year.
Well, yes, definitely appreciate you. I mean, I actually miss it when you're not here. Huh?
I was here when my Corvette first broke.
Yeah, that was one of your first episodes. I was still living in Auburn at the time, doing my live streams out of my dining room.
All right.
That was literally doing them in the corner of my dining room. Like, if you were to look behind the camera, it was my whole dining room set up. Everything behind me was just, walls, because that's set the camera up so that way you don't see everything else. And everybody had to be super quiet when I did my live streams. My girlfriend hated it because she couldn't make any noise. She couldn't watch TV, couldn't do anything like that because you're stuck. Because the camera picks up everything. Looks like you're in an office, I'm guessing.
Sure.
Office, spare bedroom, something. It doesn't look like you're in a main area. Because you'll see that I have people on my live stream that film in a main area, and you can hear TVs in the background and all kinds of stuff. And some of that stuff can get me demonetized, or they can claim monetization rights from me because there's copyrighted music in it.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
It is. I mean, it's really a pain in the butt when you're trying to work on stuff in the cars. What do we all do when we're in the garage, working on our cars?
Turn on the lights, turn on the radio.
Exactly. Crank it up and freaking get to work. And if you watch my older videos, a lot of them aren't monetized. I either take the monetization off.
And you might not need the lights.
Sometimes. Well, I mean, if you're a really good mechanic, technically you really don't need the lights because half the time you're using your fingers as freaking your eyeballs anyway. You can't see what you're doing anyway. You're just kind of feeling what you're doing down up in there, and you're just trying to, you're not actually seeing what you're doing anyway.
Nope.
Lewis, I do see your text messages. I'll read them in a half a second here.
The sending unit. Oh, there it is. Okay, I found it.
What?
The sending unit. If you're reaching around and shit.
Sending unit, thermostat. I mean, oh my God, the thermostat on my Cavalier that I had way back when, that was the most PETA I have ever freaking done because it's a thermostat. It's a wearable part. You're going to have to replace it. Where do they put it? They put it above the transmission. It's a transaxle because it's a front wheel drive. So it's above the transmission, behind the engine, but underneath of the exhaust manifold.
Really?
So the exhaust comes out the out the side of the engine, which is towards the firewall, comes down, goes over top of the transmission and down underneath the car. Whereas the transmission wraps around the firewall side of the engine and then, splits off to both sides. Well, the water pump is on the passenger side, which is the front of the engine. The thermostat is in line going down the side of the engine towards the back of the engine, which would be the driver's side, wraps around the back end of the engine towards the front of the car to get to the radiator. And the thermostat is buried underneath, in the middle of all that. It was a pain in the butt. And of course, you find out you need a thermostat when it freaking gets cold outside. And you're, because they fail open. The newer ones fail open. So instead of you finding out on a hot summer day when your engine starts overheating and you can't get it to cool down, now you find out that all summer it's been failed until it gets to winter and your car doesn't heat up. It never gets hot. And then you're out there in the snow, and the ice, which we all know what working on cars like when it's cold outside.
Both my son and daughters had Cavaliers. I'm glad they never had that problem.
Well, mine was an 03, and it had the 2.2 Ecotech in it. The older ones I don't think had that issue. It was the Ecotech that did. Which they also used in the Cobalts, which was what came right after the Cavalier. It's the same car. They just rebodied it and rebadged it. Other than that, it's basically the same car. All right, let me get back to reading. I missed Carl's post here. See, 70 Triumph Sam, fastest of the year. Yes, it was. It spanked everybody. Got the old exhaust out of the TA, installed the headers, pipes, exhaust, and a 30 horse increase. Yeah, mine has the 2.5-inch stainless steel exhaust system from Pipes as well. That is a very nice system. I say if you can't get a Corsa exhaust, go with Pipes. They're actually local because they're right here in. They're local to me. They're right out by Philadelphia, in Hatfield, PA. Got rid of the iron intake manifold. Oh my God, it was heavy. Installed an Edelbrock manifold. It's stock, but way lighter weight loss and cools better, being its aluminum. Yeah, the problem I have with messing with anything on the intake and the carburetor. These cars have a very, very specific shaker setup. In fact, every single engine has a specific shaker setup for that engine, because each engine has its intake and carburetor in a different spot and a different height inside the car. So every single engine has its own special shaker to fit that particular engine. So, like, when I got the one that was on here, the original was a 403 Olds. When I picked up the 76 engine, I had to find a whole new air cleaner assembly for it to fit the car. It cost me a really pretty penny to freaking get that to work. So I'm very, very hesitant to change the intake and carburetor setup on that car for fear that the shaker won't fit. And I absolutely cannot stand. I mean, I understand that, people got to do what they got to do, but I absolutely don't want that for my car. I don't want to be the ones that bolt the shaker to the underside of the hood, just to get it to be there. Because at that point, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the shaker to begin with. If it's not moving or moving with the engine. Now, I know, like, the later models, they didn't breathe through the shaker. You had the air cleaner assembly underneath of it, but the shaker didn't actually add any air induction into the system. But the earlier years did, like 71, 72, 70. All of those ones had functioning air scoops in the shaker. Let's see. Got rid of the old Rochester carburetor, installed an Edelbrock 800, 850. I'm still curious. Can you fit the shaker on your car? Because he's changed both the intake and the carburetor. I know that I could not fit the stock shaker on my Edelbrock. There's a reason why any of the later videos you see with my Trans Am, the shaker's not on it. The shaker's not on it because it doesn't fit. Because I'm running an Edelbrock 650. And everything's wrong. It does. I can't set the air cleaner pan down on top of the Edelbrock carburetor. So, yeah, I know, and that's the reason why. The other thing is if you notice that my Trans Am doesn't run right now. Reason I haven't gotten it inspected and gotten it on the road is because I can't get it to do anything above an idle. As soon as you crack the throttle, it wants to die. It's the carburetor's too small. As soon as you try to open it up, it's not pulling enough air in. Because it's only a 650 Edelbrock and it needs an 800 to 850. It's not big enough. And I'm not going out and going buying an Edelbrock carb anyway because I know it's not going to fit the shaker. But I've been told that the Sniper EFI from Holley, they have a Rochester version of it. It looks like a Rochester carburetor. It looks loosely like a Rochester carburetor. And it's supposed to fit most factory air cleaner assemblies that had Rochesters. So I'm really, really hoping that I can slide the air cleaner assembly from my Trans Am down on top of the Sniper EFI and it fit. And if that's the case, well then that car will be ready to be on the road. Other than beauty stuff, because like the whole interior is ripped out of it. The seats for that thing are actually in my basement right now. I've still got to find a better sewing machine to be able to finish them.
Don't they need electronics for the EFI?
Yep. The whole thing is self-contained. It's it's all of the electronics are inside of the throttle body housing. The only thing you have to run is bungs down to just after your headers for the O2 sensors and the fuel pump stuff. So you gotta tap your fuel tank to run a inline electric fuel pump. It won't use the mechanical fuel pump on the side of the block anymore.
Is there a cover for that to eliminate it?
Yeah, you just cover it. It's the standard. It's a standard cover. You just pull it out and you put the cover in it.
Okay.
And it's the same thing you would do with a small block Chevy. When you switch to an electric pump for your fuel. So you'll have a feed and a return line for your fuel tank, and it comes with all of the setup to do that. So basically, it's a full kit that literally converts your carbureted car over to an electronic fuel injection.
Cool.
And it's all contained underneath your air cleaner. So, like, that's one of the pet peeves I have. I have a classic car. I want it to still look like a classic car, even though I want the modern fuel efficiency of a fuel injection. Okay. And the other cool thing is, you ever heard of a 79 Trans Am with remote start? You can do remote start with a fuel injected throttle body. So that means, you want to do if you see a lot of YouTubers, they'll do that cold start, which I don't consider any newer car. I don't really consider any newer car that runs on fuel injection as a cold start, because it's got a computer to control air fuel mixture and everything. So the whole premise of a cold start being difficult and the way it's got to warm up before it can run is kind of thrown out the window when you have a throttle body, because it's automatically making air fuel mixture adjustments to suit what the car is doing. Sure. Whereas carburetors, you set it once, you forget it. It doesn't adjust to temperature or atmospheric pressure or nothing. The other cool thing is that these Sniper EFI systems, they also work with a distributor. It'll work with your stock distributor, but Holley has a distributor that works with these as well. That the computer inside the Sniper EFI will control the timing in the distributor. So all of those amenities that they have with modern cars, where they take them to go get tuned, to make to create better timing tolerances and air fuel mixtures to squeeze that little extra horsepower out, you can now do that with one of these systems, versus where you kind of had to set a carburetor and distributor up for a specific instance. So it'll run really good in this little tiny sweet spot with a old school carburetor and distributor. You know what I mean? You can make them run really good down to quarter mile because you're tuning them just for the quarter mile, but it wouldn't run so great on the street. Whereas, say like this new sniper system, it'll run good on the street, but you get on it and it'll still run good at the strip. You know, you didn't have to pick. You know, do you want it to be good on the street or do you want it to be good on playing around with it? It would adjust itself like modern cars do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you've had the '85 Corvette. Was that still carbureted or was that fuel injected at that point?
No, it was the tune port, and that had a separate. I thought I was having problems with my computer,
Right.
and I bought a used one on eBay, but it was the 4-speed Pacific.
Right.
I didn't really know about, but
Well, those computers back then were really, really simple too. I think they only watched. What did they have running sensors for it? Did they have an O2 sensor in it?
I'm sure it did.
Because I know the computers back then were really rudimentary. They didn't have a whole lot of inputs to monitor the engine like today's cars do.
I thought I was having a problem with my computer, but it turned out to be a map sensor, which I bought a new one and I took care of it. But
all right. Yeah, because the computer needs to know how much air is coming in the car, plus how much fuel it's burning out of the car. I mean, that's the two basic things a fuel-injected computerized car needs. You have to have those two things. You could also have a throttle position sensor, and some other different things, temperature sensor, NOx sensors, stuff like that. All of those things will just give the computer more and more parameters to play with.
I remember reading about all those things you just mentioned in trying to solve a problem that I had 10 years ago.
Right.
But it didn't need any of that. It needed a new map sensor. So.
Yeah, when I had my green Dodge Ram, right after we put the second engine in, because we had the one engine that broke down on us on our way down to Tennessee to go get the engine for the TA. So we went down to go. We went to go on this long road trip, and I bought this truck to do that road trip. Like I bought the Ram because I knew I was going to be needing to go get this engine. And we're halfway down. We're just starting on our second day, and the engine dies on us on the side of the road. Here it was oil starved. And it's an issue that this thing was having before we bought it. The dude we bought this from was super shady. And looking back on it now, of course, hindsight 2020, I should have known, but I wanted the truck too bad and I ignored it. My stupid mistake, because the truck was nothing but issues.
It happens.
Yep, I wanted the truck too bad, and I ignored some of the problems that it had, and whatever. I did not make that mistake the second time with the brown truck. The brown truck's issues were not the previous owner's fault. Welcome aboard, Biggie.
Hi, Biggie.
Howdy. Hi, Pilot.
So yeah, the truck died on us, and I had to haul it all the way back up to PA from. I think we were in the middle of Virginia, not West Virginia. We were like in the middle of Virginia, so it was a long haul to get that truck all the way back up to PA with a busted engine. I mean, it ran for like all of 5 minutes and then would lock up. You let it cool down for a couple minutes, it would run for a little bit and then lock up. So it was definitely the bearings were seizing.
Oh yeah.
But we pulled that one out, we put the new one in, and then I started having a bunch of issues with that engine. It would just randomly shut off and wouldn't start back up and all kinds of stuff. So we thought it was the electronics up on the throttle body. So I pulled all of them off, put them all on. It fired right up. It was all good until I went to go take a ride somewhere, ended up in the middle of the highway, and it died again.
Oh.
Yeah. Luckily, I got it off the side of the road. It turned out to be that when we put the engine in, the crankcase position sensor, the crankshaft position sensor, had gotten pinched in between the engine and the transmission, and so it was shorting out. Which is why it was like a hit and miss. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. So we ended up having to slide them apart a little bit, and then we put a new sensor in there, and that was a pain in the butt.
I'm sure,
because of where it's at. But yeah, after that truck ran fine until the transmission gave out.
Well, I have to say, I certainly don't look 66.
No, I wouldn't say you do.
No.
But if you haven't noticed, this is our 12 o'clock somewhere. I still have yet to design a T-shirt for the your whole VCR 12 o'clock flashing statement. I so want to do it. I just haven't done it yet. Been focusing on other things. But yeah, we were going through all the different stuff, Biggie, with Pilot's other cars. He had a picture of his Corvette. I didn't realize. I don't know why I was picturing a green car when you said Corvette, but for some reason I thought it was green. But
wait, let me guess the color. Was it white?
No.
Oh.
White.
Did I get a second guess?
The color is somewhere on one of our 3 screens.
Red.
What?
Orange?
No, you got it. It was red.
No. Oh, all right. I figured.
Why would anybody buy a red one?
Huh?
Why would anybody buy a red one?
I don't know. I want to.
Because it adds 5 horsepower.
I'm sorry. If I had an '82 Corvette, it would be freaking that bright yellow. Sorry, I'd do bright yellow, like canary yellow, or an orange.
This was right after I washed it in the garage before it got towed.
Well, that's you flipped the picture, but it's still a good picture.
Oops.
Yeah. Nice.
See, it was a gorgeous
Paint's in
car.
good condition.
And the thing is it still sitting without running? Or did he get it running?
I believe it is. I really believe it is.
Oh, good for him.
It only had 78,000 miles on it, 79,000 when I sold it.
Wow.
I think the Trans Am still has you beat, buddy.
Yeah, your car had pretty low miles on it.
Yes, yellow, orange, green. I've seen so many red cars, or a shade of blue. Now, does anybody know what color the Trans Am that I have sitting behind me is going to go? And I guarantee, I'll tell you one thing: it's not going to be black. I've mentioned it many times on this channel. Somebody can guess what color I said that this car was going to go. I will give them 5,000 loyalty points. Because if you know, then you've been here. No, not Pink Panther Pink. What do we see in there? Is that I can't tell if that's a bubble down on the bottom by the fender or not.
No. Because I let my in-laws, or my son's in-laws are from Poland.
All right. It's black.
Oops. My in-laws are from Poland. And I asked them, I said, when they were coming in, I said, well, what are you going to do for a car? He said, oh, they'll probably just rent one. And I said, well, Mike, that's my son. I said, why don't you just use my Corvette? That's what it's supposed to look like.
Right. Yeah, what is going on down there at the bottom? I can't tell.
Well, that's the way I got it back. My wife was following me in the avalanche. She goes, why is the back of the car all black? I said, I don't know. And I got out that little SOB. That was all rubber.
Well,
was doing burnouts.
You gave him a sports car. I mean, come on.
And my fingerprint in there, or the swipe, was where I cleared off the rubber.
If you're gonna abuse somebody's car and burn rubber in it, at least wash the car when you're done with it.
Well, no shit.
Yeah.
But you know, and the other thing is you know, I'm not anything against freaking burnouts. I mean, look at the opening scene to my freaking almost every single one of my videos.
No.
That is that car doing well. The ending is the Nova doing a burnout. Most of the beginning is the Trans Am doing a burnout.
So I called my son. I sent him those pictures, and I called him, and I said, "You're grounded for a month."
Mhm.
Well,
Okay,
I mean,
so I was just reading Carl's comment. He said that his SE is going to be black, and he's got a 455 out of a 68 442. So you're sticking a 455 Olds engine in it, which I mean that's not against the thing because it's got a mine stock had a 403 Olds in it. But that 68 442, that's some decent power because that was before they choked them.
Mhm.
So that 68 442, that's got to have close to 400. Yeah, I was gonna say he just put it up. I said it's got to have close to 400 horsepower, 396 horsepower,
Yeah.
and that's just what they reported. You know, the
Yeah.
numbers that they necessarily reported to the insurance companies weren't always true. That's his caddy.
it's cocoa metallic with tan leather.
I'm waiting for the Discord chat to pop up. The freaking Big E's playing a video game.
Oh,
Nice.
it shines up well.
But all right, nobody's guessed it, so I don't have to give out 5,000 points. The Trans Am is going Blackberry Pearl, which is it's a black in like the shade, and as soon as it
Yeah.
hits the sunlight, it glows purple.
Yeah, I could have gotten that, but I felt that would have been too easy because you told me that so many times before.
I know. But yeah, and then it'll have. See, now that needs to be a NOVAtazz shirt. You've been following my channel for well over a year, and I don't think you have a NOVAtazz shirt yet.
No, I do not.
Then again, I'm not wearing one either right now.
I think I have enough points to get one.
I don't know. Because I don't know if what's the beginning of that Whose Line Is It Anyway show?
The points don't matter. My God, that show was so good.
Though, Pilot, if I was going to do a giveaway, unfortunately, I do believe that Stuff with Cletus has you well beat.
You could probably buy your whole goddamn store.
Yeah, but
let's see. Pilot is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th.
Oh, don't count that. Look at the points.
You have 7,152 points.
Okay, that's a lot.
I don't know if points have a monetary value, though.
You tell me. It's your channel.
Well, yeah, I mean, but considering a donation, let's see.
I'm pretty sure I've done that.
A donation is so every $1 spent is 2,000 points. Every $1 donation. Yeah.
Again.
Ice
I'll be
House.
right back.
Yeah. So every $1 spent is 2,000 points.
Empty.
So if I would have to give a monetary value to points, 2,000 points is $1.
So, how much is the shirt? Like $18, $19?
No, like 20 something.
Like 21, 22, or 27,
like 25,
28?
27. I think I gotta double check. Let me pull that up.
So then that would be about.
Let's see, Teespring. Let's see.
At $27, that'd be 54,000 points for a shirt.
storefront. So the basic NOVAtazz t-shirt is...
Good news, I'm back.
Oh, that's good.
We've heard.
All right. So a regular t-shirt is $23.99.
Rounded up to 24 times 2 is 48,000 points for a shirt.
What is it? 48,000?
Yep.
All right. So 48,000 points gets you a t-shirt.
Well, it'll be like 47,990 something, but
Yeah.
just do 47,999. You know, like penny for your thoughts kind of thing.
Yeah. But that's only because 2,000 points is $1. I actually need to order some more of my own shirts. Well, the one that I really like, the truck one.
Yeah.
That one I ended up killing. There's where I want to go. So the truck one that I had, which matches my hoodie that I had, that one it ended up leaning too close to a radiator, and it melted the shirt.
Oh.
It burned a hole in it, and I was so pissed because I only had the shirt for like a week, and I didn't know it was up against the radiator. It was on the floor, and I guess it got kicked over there or whatever, and smelled this smell. And I'm like, "What that? It smells like something's burning." And we looked over, and it was the shirt. And so we quickly. I mean, luckily we were at home when it happened, because obviously that could have let the whole apartment on fire. All right, see you later, Carl. I guess the Streamlabs not working, or I should say the whatchamacallit? All right, Cloudbot, come on, you can do the thing.
Thing to do.
Right? Is it up and going? All right, let's see. Somebody try it again. Oh, I freaking hate that's the one thing. I love Streamlabs, but you know what? The one thing that I hate is how freaking inconsistent it is with YouTube and the Streambot and the Streambot.
Mm-hmm.
It's so annoying. Alrighty. We did have one person follow me, but I think this might be Twitch. Well, it was 5 days ago, and I think that sounded like a Twitch. Was that a Twitch one? Yes, it is. It's a Twitch. So welcome aboard. I know that you're not probably here because I'm not streaming to Twitch right now, but which that actually brings to another topic. We actually looked into Streamlabs is now offering the ability to stream to Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube all at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I went to go look into it and find out, what it is. And it turns out you have to be what they're considered a Prime member. Right now, I think I'm only a Premium member, which means I get a little bit more than the free stuff, but I don't have the top tier. Now, what I pay like $40 a year to be a Prime member. That lets me have like the little overlays that you see. Which, why is the one so big?
That's what she said.
Oh,
damn. There we go.
Left yourself open right there.
Yes, I did. All right, that looks a lot better. So I went and looked into it. They want either $19 a month, monthly, which my stream does not pull in $19 a month. Not unless I get some people that do the donating thing and try to kick the stream boss off of away from stuff with Cletus right now. He's been there. He's been off and on there most of the time for the last like 6 months. Carl sent me a video on YouTube. Share it with the guys. They'll like it. All 4 big blocks in it. Would you send it to me on Facebook? Yes. I don't know if I can share that. I'll have to... I don't know how to say. Because of the way that he shared it, he didn't share it as a link. He shared it as an attachment, which I don't know if I'll be able to pull that off of Facebook because Facebook has a freaking pain in the butt way of not letting you copy and paste links outside of Messenger.
Yeah.
I don't have Facebook. I don't want.
Well, I'm not going to be posting. I'll post it at the link in the live stream chat because I can actually. I think I'm the only one that can post links. Come on! Oh my God, this computer is so slow. I'm actually right now. I'm on the old laptop that I used before I built this one over here.
Oh, Alienware.
Yeah, and it's I mean, like Facebook, right? Isn't that crazy of a freaking program? This thing takes forever to load. All right, copy that, and we'll post it right here. There's the link for the video. Your YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth stream. Why is it doing that again? Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that's only it might just be because of the fact that I tried to freaking open something on this computer. It really does not like anything on it anymore. Oh, where is Chris at?
No idea.
It's like, I mean, I understand last week we found out last week why Chris wasn't here. Chris was recovering from a wedding party.
Yeah.
So that's why he wasn't here last week. This week, I have no idea. I'm sending him a message. I'm telling, where are you at, man? Your friend's missing you. Not friends, fans.
Tell him I'm here. That'll give him a little.
Yeah.
All right, so I said, where are you at, man? Your fans are missing you, and Pilot
Has a camera.
is a co-host.
Well, I hardly call myself a co-host.
Are you up here on screen? That makes you a co-host.
Oh.
You are co-hosting the live. You are up here as one of the, that's what I call a co-host.
All right.
It's a shame you don't have Facebook though, because that's where I use Facebook Messenger to send out the that link that you clicked on. That is the link that I send out to rally everybody to join, and I normally post it in a group chat message on Facebook.
Okay.
That way I don't have to send it out to like 60 zillion people, even though I still send it out to 60 zillion people. Because we have some people that still like to join the show that are no longer in that group chat. And sometimes people have that group chat muted. Because it can get busy.
I appreciated the YouTube thing that, not warning, advertisement, whatever, that you were going to be on tonight, because I was really looking forward to this with my new camera.
Yeah. What did it do? Did it send out what did you get? Did you get it from, you obviously didn't get it from Facebook because you don't have Facebook. You get it straight from YouTube?
Just when I clicked on YouTube, it just said that you were going to be live at 9 o'clock tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I have to get better at, I set that up this afternoon. What I need to do is I need to set that up, right after I do this live. But the problem is I hate to set that up and then something happened during the week that causes me not to go live. Because, the job that I have right now, if work calls and said that somebody didn't show up at my house, you know what I mean? The person that's at the house now that's watching the clients, if that person calls and says, hey, my relief didn't show up, you know what I mean?
Yep.
If I can't find somebody to fill that spot, I have to go in. So, obviously if I'm at work you know,
Not here.
filling in for a direct care worker, then I can't be here to do the live. And it happened a couple weeks ago. I got a message at 7 o'clock at night saying, "Oh, well, guess what? You're going in." So yeah, like 2 hours before I'm supposed to go live, I had to go into work.
That's okay.
So I don't know. Carlos says I'm driving over the 450, but I'll be happy removing the 403 boat anchor and installing the monster. Yeah, and if anybody ever wants to know what happened to the 403 that was in this car, in fact, at the time this picture was taken, it still had the 403 in it. And the way you can tell that is, if you look at the shaker's black. Any pictures where the shaker is black, that has the 403 in it. When I have the gold shaker on that car is when it had the Pontiac 400 in it. Because the Pontiac 400 shaker was a gold shaker. The original shaker was black.
And where's Miss Formula 71?
She is normally here when her husband pops up here up as a co-host. And it's, yeah. Miss Formy, she normally pops in when he's co-hosting. And if he's not here, then most likely she won't be. Now, I did get a message. I have a message from the infamous Chris. He says, "Give me 10, just finished dinner, going out to the pickup. See if talk Miss Formy into getting on too." Okay, I guess she's going to see if she can get Miss Formy. So you just asked, and there's your answer.
Great.
The 403 can be made into a monster. The shakers are different sizes for the 400, 403. They're different size for every single engine. From the 305 Chevy all the way up to the 400 and 455 Pontiacs. Every single engine had a different shaker. So,
I know that.
And they're not interchangeable. You cannot take a shaker from a 305 car and stick it on a 400 car. And the reason is, and I said this earlier in the live stream, every single engine, the height of the topper of the carburetor, and also where the carburetor is located underneath the hood, is different for every single engine.
Mm-hmm.
The 301 does not have the same height as a 400. The 400 does not have the same height as a 455 because all of them had different intakes and different things like that. And obviously the Oldsmobile is a completely different engine, and so is the Chevy 305 was a completely different engine. So they all had different placements of where the engine sat underneath the hood. So the way they fixed that is they changed, like the top part of the shaker is the same. There is a ring that's riveted to the underside of that top fiberglass shell. Where that ring is located is different on every engine. And also the shaker face, which looks like an average air cleaner for any single car. You know, yes, Mr. Pilot.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Are the hoods the same?
Huh?
Are the hoods the same?
The hoods are all the same.
Okay.
The hoods are all the same for every well, obviously not the turbo Trans Am hood. That's obviously majorly different. It's, and the Formula hoods are different, but all of the Trans Am hoods are the same for that particular year. Now, a 79 Trans Am hood may not fit on a 70 on like a 76 because the noses were different. You know what I mean? That might change. I forget if they're interchangeable or not. They may be, but they may not be. The hood, the front of the nose of the hood might be slightly different. I forget. And I don't want to sit here and say something for sure that I don't know. But what happens is, so you have the top shaker that sticks out of the hood, the black thing in this picture. That part is technically all the same for a particular year. Okay? But the ring that is attached to the underside of that is different for every model. And then obviously the air cleaner assembly itself, which is the lower basin with the snorkel, that is obviously different for every engine as well. but what they did is they used the air cleaner assembly and that ring to make up whatever differences for where the engine was in the engine bay. So, like, they use that to take up the gap from where the shaker sits in underneath the hood to where the top of the engine is. Okay, so yeah, he's saying that the hoods are all interchangeable. I wasn't positive. I didn't know if the front noses were different slightly, but I guess they're all flat. Now, the other thing is what you probably didn't know. You can't take Pontiac 400 mounts from any other car, including other Firebirds, and put them on a Trans Am.
The engine mounts?
Yeah, the hard mounts that bolt to the engine.
Yeah.
You cannot swap any other Pontiac 400 engine mounts from any other car, including other Firebirds, into a Trans Am.
Huh.
Because in the Trans Am, they lowered and pulled back the engine in the engine bay.
Ow.
Like, if you take, like, a Formula, Firebird Formula with a Pontiac 400 in it, that engine does not sit as low in the engine bay as a Trans Am Pontiac 400.
Uh-huh.
Because they lowered it and moved it back.
Hmm.
That's some sneaky... And obviously the whole reason they did that was not to fit the engine underneath the hood. The whole reason they did that was to lower the center of gravity.
Yeah.
So, and it also makes finding headers for a Trans Am a pain in the butt.
I'm sure it does.
Yes, and the WS6 package was definitely also different. But there was no engine location difference between WS6. The WS6 was a suspension package. So it had brakes, it had shocks, springs,
Roll bars.
It had beefier roll bars. Now, the regular Trans Am still had roll bars front and rear, but the WS6 had thicker roll bars.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rear cross member needs to be cut out and gauged. I'm not sure, changed. That's why you see some 73 treetop Trans Ams and Formulas, or they chop and weld the top in. Hey, whoa! We got all kinds of new people today.
Stand yourself on, then they bring you in. Tell them I'll be in a minute.
There's Miss Formy.
Herb
We have a Miss
McGursh.
Formy on the live stream.
It's
Yeah,
a
it won't be for long. Yeah, I won't be live for long, but I can talk.
You are welcome aboard. This is actually the first time for two of you to be on my live stream up here on camera.
I'll be in the dark in a minute.
I feel privileged.
And Chris will be here in a second.
We were talking about some of the differences. Now he said that's why you see some 73 T-top Trans Ams and Formulas, or they chop and weld the top in. Cross member needs to be cut out and changed. Yeah, the WS6 picture. Yeah, I already knew that. Yeah, but the thing is like I said, with the engines are interchangeable, yes, but the motor mounts from a Pontiac 400 and a Formula versus the Trans Am, the engines are lower and further back in the Trans Ams than they are in the Formulas and base birds, which is why you would be hard pressed to get a shaker set up to work from a Formula, if you had an engine from a Formula and dropped it in a Trans Am without changing the motor mounts, you'd never get the shaker to fit right.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a pain in the butt when I swapped from the 403 to the 400, because I got a set of motor mounts with the engine that I got when I was down in Tennessee. He gave me a set of motor mounts for it. I went to go put them in the car, and they wouldn't fit. The engine would not fit in the cradle.
Ow.
I didn't steal. I borrowed a set of engine mounts from a 79 SE Trans Am that a buddy of mine had up in Philly. Because I did order a set off of eBay and it didn't show up.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the day after, I went all the way up to Philly and picked them up. I had to take them off the car. They were still on the car on the engine. So what I did is I jacked the engine up, took the motor mounts off, and then put 2 pieces of plywood where the mounts would be. And
I don't feel like I need to go out in my car and put my seatbelt on.
You just need to fit in, right? Just get one of those newfangled gaming seats with the racing seat, and just install a set of harnesses on it. Strap yourself into your computer.
Not myself.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of little changes they did to make the Trans Am and the WS6 a little better than the other Firebirds. And he says I did good by swapping out the 403 and installing the 400. The new owner of that 403 is sitting here in the live stream right now. Well, not new anymore because that was years ago. But yeah, I swapped that 403 because that was the second time that I spun a bearing and lost a lifter in the year that I had owned the Trans Am at that point. I went through and fixed all of that. Oh, we lost Chris.
Oh.
Is that Chris in front of you? We just lost him. He went out of service. That's a point of view. We never get to see the ass end of Chris that much. He has a really long ass.
Well, seeing as how he's not in the semi.
Right. What's he towing? Oh, he's back.
A gooseneck trailer with a car on it.
The NASCAR.
Yep.
He's finally got it out of that yard, huh?
Yes.
Where are you guys taking it? The Poconos or your house?
My house.
Yeah, you're taking it all the way out there.
Try that again.
I said you're taking it all the way out there, huh?
Yeah.
That's good. It's about
He
time.
doesn't have time to work on it, and I do, so might as well take it to the house.
Right. The 403 can make 400 plus horses. It built right, yes, it can, but the problem is that it definitely has a weak link. The timing chain on the 403 is one of its weak links. The gear is made out of plastic. You never knew that.
Oh.
Yeah, the timing gear set on the Oldsmobile 400, the center chunk of it is made out of plastic.
That's gross.
Yeah. Who is whistling?
Is that the 403?
Stupid.
I heard Chris say stupid. That's about all I heard.
Yeah.
No, he asked if it was the 403 instead of Olds 400.
The Olds 400 is the 403. It was actually 403 cubic inches, but they just called it they called it the 6.6 liter. If you ever look at the shakers on the Trans Ams, if you see 6.6 liter, that's an Oldsmobile 403 engine that's in that car. If it says 6.6 TA, then that's the Pontiac 400. It's an easy way to be able to tell. Also, you will never, unless it's my car, you will never see a Pontiac 400 engine made into an automatic transmission. At least in the 79. It's set in 79.
Yeah. The older ones they did like with the formulas.
Yeah.
but I'm not sure on the older ones pre-79 if they did the 400 with the automatic or not.
I know at least
Yeah.
the 79 it was definitely the automatic. You didn't get, they only had so many 400s and they only paired them with a 4-speed. Though there were still some of the 400s in 79 that got out of the assembly plant with the smaller 350 heads on them, which were those 260 horsepower engines, 240, 260. They had a little bit more oomph than the 220 standard Pontiac 400s.
Just a little more oomph.
A little more oomph.
Come on, Pokey.
But those were only
Pokey.
in SE cars. You could only get that. You would only find one of those engines in a true SE car. I guess, if you're going to pay a little bit more for an SE car, they wanted to make sure that you didn't leave unhappy.
Yeah.
I guess. The 403 can make. What he means by correct like mine. You don't have. You have a Pontiac 400 in that car? I thought you had a 403. Go back up and look. If he has a 400, there's no way you're fitting a 400 with a 403 shaker. There's no way. Like, I have both of them right here. And I'll tell you, they're completely different. There's no way you're fitting that on it, because the 403 sits off-center than the 400. Like, the center of the 403 does not sit underneath the center of that hood.
Oh.
So I don't understand. I don't get that unless you don't have. I'm really confused at that. You either of you two shed any light on that for me or Chris?
On which one?
Carl says he has a 400 with a 403 shaker. I don't think so. Now, either the lettering was changed on the shaker, and they put the wrong lettering on the shaker, or
I would have to think wrong decal.
Yeah, because there's no
Just
way. Because like I said, I can actually go take a picture next time I'm up, because I have both shakers. I still have the 403 shaker, and I have the 400 shaker, and the bottom side of them are really different. Oh, okay, so he has both shaker types. I was going to say, because you're not fitting a 403 shaker on a 400 and closing the hood. It's not happening.
Yeah, now theoretically, maybe take a 400 shaker and put it on the 403, but even that's going to be hard pressed to get it to work right.
No, because it, like I said, the 403 does not sit center in the engine bay.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Which is why it wouldn't work.
And unfortunately, we're both in travel mode. She's driving a car, and I got the truck with the trailer.
Yeah, I know. We saw your ass.
Pickup truck, so neither one of us can monitor the.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we saw your ass, Chris. Your girlie was freaking showing us all your big ass.
How did she manage to do that?
And she just lifted her freaking camera up, and she just lifted it right up under your skirt.
I don't doubt that a bit. Now remember, it's not a skirt, it's plaid and it's a kilt. Just trust me.
Now wait a minute.
If you go in the bathroom after I've used it, your nostrils are going to be kilt too.
Are you Scottish or are you Irish?
A little bit of both, I think.
Oh, get out of my.
I would have to dig deeper into the genealogy of our family to know for sure.
I was gonna say I'm about to kick you out, man. You Scottish, I'm gonna kick you out.
What happens if you're everything?
Well, then you're a mutt. You're a mutt. You can be here.
Okay.
But if you're predominantly Scottish, I'm sorry, gotta get out. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I got a definite love for Guinness, so I think I'm more to my Irish, more to the red side than the other. And who can't love the Irish accent of one of those lasses from over there?
All right. The only time you'll ever really hear my Irish accent is
Hey, you high beam running jackass! How about this for you?
Okay, so that actually puts me right in the queue here. Let's do a little what's in the cup.
Gotta
If you're following the guy that's in front of you with your high beams gear, it ain't him. It's the idiot in the passenger lane.
All right. All right. We'll start with Pilot here. What's in the cup?
Ice house.
You got me. You got yourself a nice house. All right. Now, let's see. What do we got there, Piggy?
I got my usual
Cup of air.
Lipton green tea and my water thingy.
Not Walmart cup.
Mm-hmm.
You're matching today. Your cup and you are matching.
Yeah, I know, right?
All right. Should we go with Miss Formie? What are you drinking tonight? You able to talk?
I have water. I doubt you'll be able to see it, but there's a water bottle.
We can't see it, but that's okay. We're mostly here for voices anyway. All right, Chris, what do you got? Besides, we're missing your big.
We are basically water too, but mine is one of the glacial kiwi strawberry flavors. They're Focus.
All right, let's see.
Focus mix, whatever the hell they're.
What do we got in the chat? Who do you guys got in the chat, man? What are you drinking? And we'll leave this up here. There's a shot of what I'm drinking. What am I drinking tonight?
Does it begin with Y?
First person that guesses gets 1,000 points.
Irish whiskey.
Huh?
Irish whiskey.
That's a little light to be an Irish whiskey. I mean, I think we Irish are a little more chest-haired than that.
Scottish whiskey.
Huh? Now, why would I be drinking a Scottish whiskey?
I don't know.
Grim is drinking a Bud Light.
How about some Angry Orchard?
Huh?
Angry Orchard.
God damn, Miss Formie. You always kill me.
Woohoo! 50 points for me.
That's 1,000 points. That's not 50.
Oh, okay. I'll take it.
Like she's gonna complain.
Let's see. Did we ever find out if the loyalty points are if the thingy is working?
I don't think so.
Carl is drinking him some Jack Daniels. Hell yeah, man.
Oh, geez.
Got me some Gentleman's Jack right there. Not what's in my cup right now, but okay. So
now, which one of them down there had the warehouse collapse into the river last year?
No idea.
It wasn't Jack Daniels. It wasn't one of the more known whiskey brands.
That was some drunk fish. I can actually open this one now and pour that into my.
Well, actually, it was a pretty good guess on my part because I couldn't see what you showed. So.
The thing is it depends. If it was bright red, you would have been really, really. Because I could have been drinking a dark beer, this light-colored cider. Could have been drinking a little bit darker of a cider, which would have been a little bit darker of a beer, which would have been a Guinness. I mean, a Yingling. Or I could have been drinking a margarita.
I had a Yingling for the first time.
Yeah, what'd you think?
It was okay. It wasn't the worst beer I've ever had. It wasn't the best.
It's not bad for the price range that it's at. You know, obviously, yes.
And the one drawback, it was out of a can, not a bottle.
Oh, well, never mind. Then you didn't have a Yingling. I take back your criticism because it wasn't in the glass. Apparently, Chris's phone has had too much to drink tonight.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're in the middle of nowhere.
Well, yeah, you guys are always in the middle of nowhere.
That's the way it goes when you're in the middle of nowhere.
All right, so we're talking with what's no, I want that up there. We'll get rid of that one. How about some Teespring? We'll put a Teespring one up there. If you have not checked out my merch store yet, please do. You can search NOVAtazz Customs on teespring.com, and you will bring up my storefront. Plenty of freaking cool shirts still up there, including the Let's Settle This Like Adults drag racing shirt. I have one for the Nova, the Trans Am, and the truck. And we also have a Aero 404 10mm socket shirt up there, I think. I think that one's still up there. Not positive. Actually, we have several different variants of the Trans Am one up there. I think I only have the one Nova one, though. Let's see. What else? Do I have any other ones up there? I don't think so. I think that's it. But yeah, definitely go check that out. There are some really nice shirts. I have been wearing most of them for several years. The truck one I've had now for a year and a half. Still looks pretty decent. I mean, it's got some wear to it. But some of the other ones I've had for well over 2 years, and they still look really nice.
I love that sound.
What?
I love that sound
What song?
of a beer opening.
Oh, yeah, you missed it. I just opened one. By the way, did you happen to hear what I was drinking? Before you left?
Negative, sir.
I am drinking an Angry Orchard. There we go.
I have no idea what that is.
It is a hard apple cider. Apple juice for big boys.
It's adult juice.
Basically. It's fucking I love apple cider. I used to make my own. I used to take like 4 or 5 ounces out of a half gallon of apple cider, and then I would leave it in the back of my fridge for like a while till it started bloating. And yeah, fermented apple cider.
There you go.
It'll give you a nice little buzz. I don't know how safe it is, and I wouldn't suggest trying it yourself, but it's a trick up here in Pennsylvania to do with it. Not that far off from how they actually make hard apple cider. Just a little more filtered when it comes to it, like in a bottle like this.
Yeah.
Obviously, a little more quality controlled than the leave it in the back of the fridge method.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember one time my parents had made like a fruit punch, and they had left it. They made a fruit punch, and they actually had like fruit chunks in it.
Yeah.
And they had left it on the back porch, and it had fermented.
Bounce.
You know, obviously it had gone rancid, and they had put it outside. And
I can hear you, but not them.
Oh, we can hear you.
Loud and clear.
But we put it outside, and some of the local animals had gotten to it, and yeah, there was an animal party in our backyard. They were having more fun with it than the guests were that didn't touch the apple, the whatever it was, fruit punch. We got a guest. That is one big cat.
Oh yeah.
Meow.
And apparently he just told us his name. Mine are not at my feet for once. I don't know where mine went. Normally they're in here. Oh, there's one over there. Scarlet is sitting over there. I don't know where Hollow is. Normally Scarlet's at my feet, but...
Normally.
Well, yeah, I move my feet and I end up kicking him because he's like laying like directly in front of my feet. And I normally have my feet
I do that.
I normally have my feet like tucked up under my chair, so if I go to stretch them out, suddenly cat.
Yeah.
Oh, what time is it?
11:45.
Almost 11. Not bad, not bad. I wasn't even sure if we were going to have a decent stream tonight. I mean, for a while there, it was just me and Pilot.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a good stream.
Oh, yeah. We were chit-chatting. I get frustrated when I'm up here chatting at myself. It's really it's really hard for me to hold a conversation with myself. I'm not that very good of
Yeah.
I don't enjoy talking to myself. I know there's plenty of people out there that enjoy talking to like themselves and six other themselves, but I'm not one of them. I definitely took care of a
You'd
few
have a
of
tough
those.
time being a radio DJ.
Huh? But even radio DJs, they have normally one other person to bounce stuff off to. Normally, most of at least the talk show ones where they're actually sitting there talking. You know what I mean? Yeah, sure. I could sit there and fill an intermission between between two songs. I could do that. But to sit up here and talk for hours to myself, no, I couldn't do that. You know, even when I do my YouTube videos, I'm not talking to myself for like an hour straight. You know, I pick up the camera, I say what I got to say, I have a topic to talk about, and I go back to work. And then I might pick up the camera another 45 minutes later. Whereas on screen, it looks like it's, 2 minutes later. You know, so, like I said, so, like, there's a difference between me doing a YouTube video where I'm filming and then editing it later versus trying to talk when there's nobody talking back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to a screen. Well, technically, you guys are over there. I'm looking at the screen here. But if there's nobody talking in the chat, you get really tired of trying to have a conversation with no feedback.
Yeah.
Without a script. You know, and if you have a script or you have a topic to talk about, sure. You can chit chat, you can spill off knowledge for a while. But when you're like a show like mine, I don't necessarily have a topic when I come up. I don't have a strict, agenda to follow of this is the topics we're doing, this is, how much time I want to spend on each topic before we move on. If a topic comes up and we want to discuss it, then we discuss it. Mr. Pilot, this is not kindergarten. You can fucking interrupt me all you want. Go ahead.
I try not to do that.
Go ahead.
I think the weak link on the C8 Corvette is going to be the transmission.
I think it depends on what they're doing with it, because there's several YouTubers out there that have gotten a hold of one of these cars and started beating the snot out of them. And like Amelia, it was the connecting rod in the engine.
Yeah.
How many of them actually beat on it before the break-in period?
Well, Amelia didn't. Amelia still brought in the break-in period. But again,
that's the other key. You don't know what what exactly they've done.
Right. And it depends on stock horsepower. I don't think it'll be the transmission that goes first. And I think that transmission is going to handle a pretty decent amount of horsepower before it breaks. Now, some of these guys are even with a stock tune are pushing close to, 1,000 horsepower, 700-800 horsepower already with a stock tune. Because they're fiddling with different things like forced injection and stuff, forced induction and different things like that. Now, granted, that's also where the connecting rod failure came from, because that was twin turbo car or a single turbo? Twin turbo. That was twin turbo with the turbos underneath of the engine. Whereas Street Speed Mike's, his is twin turbo on top of the engine.
Why would that make a difference?
That one, not necessarily.
If
it is a difference, not necessarily. It would be a difference in horsepower because you're pulling in different air. The twin turbo.
It all depends on where you have the intakes routed to. The turbos can be anywhere, but it all depends on where you route everything, where it gets the air from. But I think what might have happened there is if the turbos are under the engine, then the engine's soaking up a lot of the heat that it's radiating off, and it might have gone into the oil and done something, and then connecting rod failure.
I think more of the connecting rod failure was just boost.
Could have been that too.
I mean, it's a physical location. I don't get where that would be an issue.
Oh, it does. Temperature makes a big part with that. Depending on where, because turbos saturate a lot of heat into the area around them. A lot of heat. So, I mean, the best place for a turbo is where it can get fresh air because it'll also cool the turbo down on top of that. And if it's out in the open, you're also going to not have that heat going into the engine bay.
Yeah. At the same time, though, you don't want the turbo to get too cold because when it gets too cool, it's actually less efficient.
Right. But like I said, it's more of not heat soaking other parts around it.
Yeah, that's why they have like blankets that you could put over turbochargers to keep the heat in instead of radiating out.
Yeah. But like I said, I don't think Amelia's problem was because of where the turbos are located. It was just easier to locate the turbos under there. It was less work versus what the guys that did Street Speed's car. They put the work into putting the turbos up there because they wanted the exhaust to have the room down below. Who is whistling?
Mommy?
That is the
it's the
car
car.
that Miss Formy's driving.
Oh, and does it constantly whistle at you the whole time?
Yes.
Oh,
It's something that started on our trip when we were down in Texas.
Oh my god! It beat it with a hammer.
Yeah, it's annoying. I think it's the roof racks. It looks like there might be a rubber plug that went into the adjustment in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
That came out on all four mounting points.
Right, but it literally sounds like somebody, almost like a
someone's
horror movie. Yeah, it's like two tones. It's not like a constant whistle.
Like someone's breathing, but they can only whistle.
Yeah, it was real interesting when it started at 90 mile an hour. It's like, oh shit, what's going on now?
Now, who in the world was where were you guys in Mexico? Because we know damn well you weren't anywhere here in the United States going 90 miles an hour, because that would be against the law.
This is true.
So you must have been in Mexico. You were on vacation.
We were headed to a wedding on the Gulf Coast.
There you go. Okay, well, at least you're safe.
We got down there where we had to be, and I mean that was a marathon 1,460-mile run overnight with a detour through her parents' house to pick her mother up so that her mother could attend the wedding as well.
Hey, you know what I just realized? If we could get 4 more people up here, we could have the Brady Bunch.
Oh my god, I thought you were going to say Hollywood Squares.
Or Hollywood Squares. That'll work too. It'll be NOVAtazz Squares.
That might be more fun because we're all better looking than Brady Bunch was. So
it depends on who's blinding who.
This is true.
And Chris, you wouldn't know that I was 66.
You missed
it. I
it.
guarantee you right now because on my screen that I'm looking at, you're about half an inch wide by 3/4 of an inch tall.
Yeah, you got to think that what you're seeing right now. Obviously, you know what my live stream looks like. In fact, I think you might have it open. So what you're seeing in StreamYard is shoved all the way up in the top 2/3 of the screen of the actual live stream. And if he's watching on his phone, you can imagine what trying to see somebody. Obviously, you're getting exponentially smaller every time I add a screen. So.
Yeah, and at the same time, we're not watching in landscape mode. We're standing up, so the phone's not twisted sideways to make the screen bigger. Yeah, because we have no ability to mount the phones in either vehicle with phone mounts to be able to spin them.
That's right. You guys are beverage cupping it.
Yeah, I mean, I got the truck and if you want to bring it up into to show everybody, the truck and the trailer with what we're hauling, I shared the pictures in the live chat stream that you have for your chat. If you want to bring them over, which this leg of the trip would have already been done if it wasn't for the fact that the truck wiped out a cam lobe or a lifter. We're still not sure which it was.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it would have been a week ago from Thursday when we're actually on our way home.
If that'll focus, it probably won't. There it goes. So he's hauling a stock car that was on the back of the trailer next to the truck that fucking went up in flames. Right?
No, not
different car.
This is the Dodge that she has. Yeah, this is the Dodge from Nebraska.
No.
This is the other truck we have.
No.
But the trailer in the car is, yes. The trailer in the car is the one that was mounted to the truck that got torched. Yes.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. That's
You're finally bringing that load home.
the addition to that trailer you see that wasn't on it is the crotch rocket that's in front of the car.
I didn't notice that.
Is the only, yeah, we loaded that out of the storage garage.
Oh, okay.
It blends in with the trailer real well. So everybody's asking, what's that for? Well, hell, every good race team's got a pit bike. But the purpose of pit bike to get your race line up and everything, you might as well be the first one and everything, right?
You can see it stuffed between front of the nose of the car. Just barely. Oh.
Yeah, right behind the upright of the gooseneck.
A
week ago Thursday, we were coming across Ohio, headed to the house, and then we were going to leave the house, exchange out the suitcases and head for the wedding. And Thursday afternoon, early afternoon, the truck just developed a hell of a miss over by Toledo and pulled into a AutoZone store to have the code read because the check engine light was flashed, see what it was. And it stalled pulling in the driveway and wouldn't restart. So before we even did anything, we had to replace the starter sitting there in the middle of the driveway while we had 3/4 of the driveway blocked with the truck and the trailer. And then everybody that was getting ready to leave to go home for work, well, forget about it because they were blocked in tight against the curb. They couldn't even get out. So we're looking at the overtime y'all going to get.
All right. Now, Carlos sent me pictures of, he said, that's the 403 with the correct shaker, my 400 shaker, and Conex with my 74 400 SD formula. Now, the pictures that I'm seeing, both of these are at least Oldsmobile engines. Because it's got the oil fill cap that comes up on the passenger side.
As part of the water pump housing.
Yeah.
Where the water pump mounts.
Yeah, which means those are both Oldsmobile
timing case
engines.
cover. Yes.
Now, I'm assuming they're both the 403 because it doesn't look much different. I mean, the paint and everything looks exactly the same. Funny thing that I've been seeing though is it's painted in the light Pontiac, business blue with chrome valve covers. Now, I didn't think that the 40. That's right, because they're Edelbrock covers. That's why. Now that I zoomed in, I can see that. And definitely the engine was sprayed blue. The engine was definitely sprayed blue inside the car. Because there's overspray all over all of the hoses and stuff. If I can give a tip to anybody that wants to clean up their engine and paint it, disconnect the wires and all of that stuff and get them out of the way before you spray it. Or if you don't care about the hoses and wires, spray it while it's on and then replace them with new ones. Like if they're junky ones now, spray the engine and then replace them with new ones. Because that is, I mean, it looks nice, tacky. But when you lift that hood, people are true engine guys.
Makes the whole job look tacky.
Yeah, it may look clean at a glance, but yeah, I don't know. It's not stock anymore, and it blew again.
You can compare that to painting a dog turd. It might be pretty to look at, but underneath it's still a turd.
Right. I mean, I don't know if anybody's seen my Pontiac engine. See if I can pull up a picture real quick. But it's gorgeous.
Now what year engine did he have? Did he say?
So the 403 is the stock original. He was looking to get a 68 455 422 engine. So 455 out of 422 out of a 422.
442.
Now the 455 would drop right in.
Yeah, if you had the 403, yes.
Yeah. Well, even if it's a Pontiac, if it's got the original BOP bell housing, it still won't be a problem.
Right, that one will drop right in.
If it's got the bell housing cut for the Buick Olds and Pontiac bell housing.
Right, unlike the one that I did, where I had to swap everything.
Yeah. That's why I'm debating what to do with the car that's on the trailer, because if you look at that picture of the pickup truck, there's a big gray thing sitting behind the cab.
Yeah, so I noticed that.
It's an Oldsmobile 455 that we picked up Saturday before we left on the trip to come home.
Here's a picture of my old Caddy. There's my caddy engine before I lost it. 500 cubic inches.
That just makes you sick.
500 cubic inches, built cylinder heads. I just needed to build the bottom end.
8.5 liter, right?
No, 8.3.
8.2.
8.3. All right.
8.3, 8.2. At that point, it's not much of a difference. If you can see, there's the one shaft rocker system. I told you I had built heads on that.
Stump puller.
Yeah, it had the upgraded valve. You could stand on those valve springs and they wouldn't move.
Jesus.
Literally, you can put a valve spring down, put your whole body weight on top of that spring, and you couldn't compress it.
Now, was it a double beehive or what was in it?
No, single spring.
Single spring? All right. Straight coil or beehive coil?
Straight coil.
Straight coil, all right.
With a
That's
one
some serious
piece...
spring pressure.
Huh?
That's some serious pressure.
Fuck yeah, it is.
I'll guarantee
and the
you wouldn't
whole
have floated
reason,
a valve in that.
Right, the whole reason that you have that heavy of a spring in that engine is because of valve flow. Those engines were known for valve flow at high RPMs.
They were also big ass fucking engine.
They were also known for walking the rockers right off of the T-pedestals.
Oh.
Which is why that engine doesn't have T-pedestals. It's got one solid bar, like the old Mopars, that runs from one end of the cylinder head to the other. All the rockers are pinned on that bar, and you bolt all the rockers on at the same time.
Oh.
Unlike a Chevy, where each rocker is separate, on a stock Cadillac, both the intake and the exhaust rockers are on one pedestal. So it comes up like a T, and then the rockers slide onto the ends with a little clip. What happens is that clip wasn't strong enough to keep the rockers at high RPMs from just wanting to walk right off of that T pedestal.
Oh. That's nice.
So those heads were ported and polished. All new valve guide seats. 3-angle valve job, and all of the valves were gone over. The valve stems, the valve heads, the whole 9 yards. The valve heads were reground as well, and then lashed to the head. It had all new. It had the upgraded valve seals, which was the rubber boot at the bottom. The stock ones were like this, it's weird. They were at the top of the valve seal, at the valve stem.
Yeah.
And
like a funky O-ring type thing, right?
Yeah, they were funky, like a not a cork, but it was weird. It was like it slid onto the top of the valve, and was just in between the valve stem and the keeper.
Oh.
Whereas the upgraded ones were more like what Chevy runs, which is like a rubber boot that slides over top of the cast iron.
Over the shaft guide.
Yeah. It's like a little bump that comes up into the bottom of the cap. The valve guide comes up through. And the rubber slapped down on that. Had all brand new valves in it. I mean, all brand new springs in it. All brand new keepers and locks. Keepers and what the hell is the top of the valve? The retainer. So all new retainers and keepers. That engine, those heads were also the heads were shaved. A couple thousands. So they were shaved as well. Those cylinder heads were ready for the rest of the engine to be upgraded.
I'm sure.
That was all done my senior year. In fact, actually, the crank is what's sitting in the background in that picture. Those cylinder bores, I could fit my whole leg in.
God damn.
Oh yeah, they're monsters.
Well, it's like what, 4.5-inch bore, I think. It's been a long
bigger than that,
time.
aren't they?
I'm not sure, 4.5 to almost 5 inches. Let me find out real quick, because like I said, it's been a long time.
My 76 Eldorado was just fantastic, just immaculate. Unfortunately, I inherited from my father. But I ended up selling that car to a guy from California that left his email address on an eBay posting for a convertible, and I emailed him with a bunch of pictures and stuff, and I said, "You might be interested in this one," and he ended up buying it. And, sent a truck up here, or got a truck from here to send it to him, or whatever. I don't know how it worked, but I was more than happy with the money I got for it, and he got a good car. He got a good car. Factory 8-track. Not that that's a big deal these days, but
yeah.
Some of us appreciate them.
And the sunroof. I mean, that's all stuff you can't. And the car started out in California. It still had the dealer sticker on the firewall, or on the front fender.
Right.
From the dealership that it was sold from out of California after my father bought it. It was kind of cool. I was glad.
That was front-wheel drive, right?
Front-wheel drive, yeah.
Yeah, the Eldorados.
Flat floor. You could sleep 8 if you stacked them right. And no cup holders.
All right, so I found the stroke. The stroke is 4.3 inches. I'm still trying to find.
Well, the cup holders were in the glove box lid, weren't they?
There were indentations. I'd hardly call them a holder.
My Nova had that as well. My 77
That was the
Nova
extent
had
of cup holders.
Had the dimples in the glove box lid.
Mm-hmm.
In fact,
That's
actually,
where
I think
you had those nice little plastic hangers that you hung on the door.
Yeah, didn't the Trans Ams have that same freaking that same
glove box door?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm so happy I can be on live with you guys. This is just,
it's more fun when you communicate, but I can't have like everybody in the chat come up here all the time because obviously then there's nobody in the chat. But we do have Carl here in the chat hanging out with us. It's 68 455 Oldsmobile. The older cars are fun and emissions free. Gotta love Illinois is missing. Yeah, the problem is here in PA. Now, granted, in PA, I do believe the engine has to pass the emissions for that year. Not necessarily the year of the engine, but the year of the car. Which is great, because I can run no cats on my Trans Am and not have to worry about it, no matter what the hell's in it. And also with the Nova. But some other countries, like in some other states, like in
California. California, it's a country all of its own because they do shit stupid out there.
Yeah, and in California, it's the model year of the engine that the emissions have to pass for.
But they also have restrictions on you can't put an older engine in a newer car. They also have that lovely restriction too.
Which sucks. No, I mean,
just think of all the guys that have built a rat rod or a T-bucket and they put an LS or something like that, and it's like, man, talk about some headaches.
Well, I mean, if you're building a rat rod or whatever, you can still put a freaking, a 60s or 70s freaking small block in it because you're not putting an older engine in a newer car.
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't understand. I don't sure much of a reason why you would put an older engine in a newer car.
To get away from the emissions.
I did
well,
see
yeah,
something.
I could see that, but you would not be doing yourself too much of a favor.
Wait, hang on. I saw something. I can't remember what it's called. It's My Classic Cars with the Dennis Gage, I think his name is. He goes around to like car shows and he'll go to Jay Leno's place and he'll just look at cars. you know, in car shows or at Jay Leno's cars. Hell, I don't remember where it was, but there was this one person he was talking to at a car show. He had what was it? It was some year Bronco. I think it was a very early year Bronco, but he didn't have it like stock height or jacked up. He had it like this thing sat low, and they actually looked really good. And he had a flathead Ford under the hood.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just something he had, but he had it like all painted up nice. And I'm sure it was enough to move around a, you know, Bronco that's like this high off the ground. Right. Yeah, for real. Like, Christ, it's probably lighter than the freaking 32 Fords that came in.
Why can I not find
They were a badass engine for what they were.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having trouble finding the freaking information that I'm looking for. I can find the stroke, just trying to find the freaking bore, and I don't know why I can't find it.
Because you're looking for it.
Yeah, the second I'm not looking for it, I'll find it.
You hit the nail on the head right there. That's exactly why.
Yeah, look for something else.
It's kind of like working underneath your car doing a transmission swap or some such thing as that. You lose that one bolt that's in the tightest spot your fingers don't fit in. You finally get disgusted. You go to something else, and the next time you're crawling to the car, you jam that son of a bitch right between your shoulder blades. There you are, you little bastard.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I can
find 40 minutes.
I can find the information for the 472, but trying to find like. I'm not sure if they just changed the stroke and the bore is the same. Because the bore in the 472 is 4.3 inches. And the stroke is 4 inches.
I'm pretty sure the bore in the 500 was a lot bigger than that.
Now, the bore in the stroke in the 500 is 4.3 inches. So it's 0.3 inches longer stroke. But I'm not finding the information on what the bore of... Hold on, here we go. Maybe. Horsepower of the stock 500 Caddy. Now, the horsepower of the stock 500 Caddy is like freaking horrible because of the heads and the intake that they threw on that car.
Yeah, it was something stupid. It was like 235 or something.
But then again, all of the cars back then were freaking horrible.
Exactly. They'll spin the front tires. I know that.
Oh, it's got freaking torque out the wazoo.
Well, yeah.
It's like everything you say. Horsepower is how hard you hit the wall. Torque is how far you take the wall with you after you go through it.
Okay. Yeah, so, 4.3 stroke, increasing total displacement. They only increased the stroke. Yeah, 500 for the 1970 Cadillac fitted a crankshaft with a 4.3-inch stroke, increasing the total displacement of the engine to 500 cubic inches. At introduction, it was rated at 400 horsepower and 550 foot-pounds of torque.
Well, goddamn, here we go. I can ride out beside this car and watch a movie.
In 1971, the compression was reduced from 10-1 to 8.5-1, lowering the compression ratio, dropped the 500's gross output from 400 to 365.
I mean, that thing's like a rolling drive-in theater. Goddamn 15-passenger
or 235 horsepower in SAE net ratings. In 1976, it had fallen to 190 horsepower.
Oh my God!
Which you know is still over 200 horsepower actual because they did that SAE rating because of the insurance.
Well, yeah, because if you look about it here, okay, so in 71. 365 horsepower converts to 235 SAE horsepower. So you lose like 130 horsepower there from going from one system to the other.
Jeez.
Even though it's the same horsepower.
Yeah.
Miss Formie, we're running around there at the car shop looking for the lights for the car. All we had to do is look at the trailer after dark. I think we got the little round lights we wanted on this.
That's possible.
But yeah, I mean that caddy, with not too much money, you could like that Cadillac. The first iteration was just to do the heads that were on it. I ported it and polished them, which should help a little bit. But again, the compression is still going to be 8.5 to 1. The ideal thing to do with these is get to the aluminum heads that MTS offers, which they only deal with the big block with the big caddies. They make aluminum heads for those that free them up back to like the early 70s, and you can make 800 horsepower and 1,000 foot-pounds of torque out of that engine running on pump gas.
Damn.
Naturally aspirated, no turbocharger, no supercharger, just all engine.
I believe it.
That's wild.
But you're only going to rev it to like $5.5 grand.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Right. It's not a high revving engine, and with today's transmissions, you could easily do that. If you threw one of those, if you threw that caddy on one of these new 10-speed transmissions,
you'd blow it.
For starters, yes. But if it did work,
not with these new the double clutch, these new automatic manuals. I don't think you'd blow one of those. I mean, geez, those cars are running with 1,200 horsepower engines.
The journey, maybe. No, I was thinking you'd blow the engine.
Well, if you over rev it, but the thing is,
impressive.
You don't need to over rev an engine if you got 10 freaking gears.
No.
Now,
you would more likely those gears for a car.
Huh?
Can you imagine what the Marine variant was?
No, I don't. Did they have Marine variant for the Caddy engine?
I believe so.
I don't think so. I think the Chevy had that covered because there was a Marine 396 and 454. Why would they use the big Caddy?
Why not?
Yeah, a little bit more displacement.
The big Caddy didn't have as high RPM as the freaking the 455.
Boats generally have transmissions anyway, so boats have transmissions anyway. I'm pretty sure.
Right, but like I said, I mean, there's more parts available. It's freaking. I mean, no, granted, it's not as much horsepower and torque as the Caddy, but the Caddy is technically
straight drive
still a boat
forward
anchor.
and straight drive backwards.
Oh. Chris, you got to talk in chat. Not you, Chris. The other Chris. Oh, he's just sending me. Is he just sending me pictures? No, I think he's sending me pictures of the 455. I'm not used to my phone blowing up during a live stream. Focus. It's not focusing. It just looks like a gray and blue blob. Oh, but I miss that Caddy engine. That was going to be my fun toy. Originally was going to throw it in a Nova. And I'm missing Chris apparently.
My God, that thing would just bake the tires.
But I wanted to throw it in the Nova first, and it would have fit.
Oh, I'm sure.
It would easily fit. But then my second thought was to pick up an El Camino and throw the engine in the bed backwards.
Nice.
You know, kind of like they do with the big boats.
Monster trucks.
No, the boat. Well, yes, but the boats do it too. They do it with the boats. And then
because then the driveline goes forward and then to the
goes forward, down, and then back out the back.
Yeah.
With the boats. But I was going to have it sitting in the bed so that way, when you had the cap on, the exhaust would come out the little windows in the cap.
Oh, that'd be dope.
And then obviously during shows or whatever, you would remove the cap, and the whole engine would just be sitting there in the bed of the truck.
That'd be cool.
It'd be freaking awesome. And I was also contemplating on whether to lift the the El Camino or leave it at stock ride height.
I think it would be a fucking track weapon like that.
It'd be freaking pretty nasty. I think it would be too back end heavy for it to be a track car.
Hey, you just gotta balance it right.
Probably end up pushing in the corners.
Huh?
So it'd probably be too late in the front end. You'd end up pushing the corners.
I would. It would be.
Yeah, just get wider front tires.
It would be just be a show car at that point, I think. Or I would lift it and make it a an off-road truck. More just like, again, still show oriented.
Just run the thing on the fucking drag strip, Christ. Then we get grip.
Wheelie King.
Yeah.
Carl says to get a Chevelle station wagon, drop the 500 in. Yeah, but the point was to drop it into a lighter car.
Sean would have been the only one running around with an El Camino that had Lexan floor pans. That way, when he jumped out and off the light, he could look out through the floor to see where they're going.
Heavy under glass,
like they do in the monster trucks. All glass bottom, so they can actually see where they're at right in front of them.
Yeah. Getting more pictures from Chris and Mike. Oh, that's Chevelle wagon. I know what a Chevelle wagon looks like. They're actually freaking nice looking. In fact, my Nana might have had one when I was a kid. That was a Ford. Might have been a Ford wagon.
Now there you go, Sean. If you wanted to go wagon style, take the 455 transverse model, however you're going to do it. Put it in the back of a Chevy 2 wagon.
Except for I never liked the Chevy 2s.
Put a little NOVAtazz.
I never liked the shoe boxes. I mean, they're nice looking, but not ones that I would ever want to own. I'm more of a fan of the 68 through 72s.
Yeah.
Now, granted, yes, I have a 77, but then again, when I bought the 77, it was my first quote-unquote muscle car, even though it had inline 6 in it when I bought it. But, so the reason I'm in love with the 77s is because I had the car and I put so much work into it. You kind of grows on you. It's kind of like having a Maverick or a Fairmont or, one of those other. It's not a well-liked car.
And you embarrassed a lot of kids with it, right?
Actually, I embarrassed a bunch of kids with a freaking with Volkswagens on the 12 bypass by the mall.
Uh-huh.
I was coming up out of Sinking Spring, and I was coming up into that would be Muhlenberg, which is where I was heading. And they had passed me coming up off of the 422 Business, I think it is, up onto 12, and they had passed me, flown by me, and as soon as I had a clear stretch, now it was still an inline 6. It was not well, actually I had the 305 for a while, even not knowing that it was a 305. But I was still in the inline 6 and literally blew by them on the freaking highway. We got off the highway and we went to the I went to the gas station, and they pulled up and they're like, "What do you have in that?" I was like,
"You wouldn't believe me if I told you."
Yeah, it's like, it's an inline 6. Because, they thought they were all fucking hunk shit, freaking, when they blew by me. Because it was just, at that point, it was just, I think it was all straight black at that point. It might have been in primer gray with the black stripes. But yeah, it wasn't anything that it is well, not even today, because today it's gutted. But it wasn't at its best.
Yeah. Its
best was when I threw the 350 in it. The thing got up and went then. But yeah, I don't know. I hate talking about that car right now because it is such a sore spot for the fact that it's just sitting there and I can't work on it. It's frustrating because I want to bring it into the shop and I want to strip it down and start fixing the damage on the new body to get it ready for the engine and stuff. But then again, the other fact is do I still stick with the stock well, it's not even stock, but the classic 350, considering I already know that if I want to get any kind of use with that car. Huh? What, Chris?
I was telling her she's lagging. She gets someone cutting in between us.
Oh. I'm kind of frustrated because I want to upgrade the engine in the Nova. I have the classic engine in the TA. I want to go with a modern engine in the Nova, but finding the right engine is also hard. You know, I could probably get a 400 cubic inch LS, but that's still not necessarily as wild as I want to go. I want to get an LSA.
Well, good luck with that.
It's not as hard as you think. It's just a matter of finding the right wrecked car.
It's only a little pocket jingle.
Yeah, and like 10 grand.
Yeah.
10 grand for a wrecked Camaro or a CTSV. Because I mean, I know that they're in the Corvettes too, but the problem is with the Corvettes is you can't really use it because of the fact that it's got the transmission all the way in the back of the car.
Yeah, mid-engine transmission, whole 9 yards.
Well, mid-transmission, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I mean, even since the C5, the transmission's been in the back anyway.
Right. So pulling, an LSA out of one of those, sure, I could pull the engine. But if
pull the engine, but that if you can make it work, that would be pretty dope. If you could do that.
What? It would.
Yeah, just use the.
Because that's also an independent rear suspension.
Yeah.
Not the look I'm going for.
Oh.
Remember going for that late 70s drag car, nose down, ass up in the air, that whole look. That's not going to look good with an independent rear suspension. It's not. So it's still got to go with a solid rear axle. So I really only need the engine trans and the wiring harness. And, that's what I need out of that car to make it work.
Now, what axle would you run?
I have a nice
14-bolt or?
I have a nice 1968 8.5-inch rear with a posi. Not a posi, a limited slip diff sitting underneath the car right now. Though I would probably end up having to swap that out for something like a Moser or something.
See, you'd stay GM, so you wouldn't do like a Ford 9-inch.
It depends on, obviously at that point, your horsepower is determining where you go.
Right.
Yeah.
If a GM rear, now like I said, the reason why people go with a Ford 9-inch is the fact that you can swap out the gear sets quickly, or if they break, you can replace them without having to tear the whole rear apart. Whereas I already know if I want to change
the axles, change the whole third member.
Right. Whereas if I want to change the Chevy ring and pinion, I already know that pinion is a bitch to get out. Just the pinion alone. But you also have to, you have to get the spider gear assembly apart, which the pin breaks in those. The pin likes to get seized. The bolt that goes through the pin likes to get seized and snap off. So you got to get that whole spider gear assembly apart. You got to get that out of the way. Then you got to freaking pull the axles. You got to push the axles in, drop the C clips, pull the axles out, and then you can unbolt the carrier. And the other thing is with those carriers is when you go to put them back in, you have to measure and shim them. Because even if you have the same carrier that came out of the car, when you put it back in, you may need different shims.
Wow.
And yeah, that's a whole chore. I mean, I can see why people that run race cars that have to have those ends of those, those rear ends can let go at the track. Why it's so much easier to just swap out the center pumpkin.
Yeah.
You have several pumpkins set up ready to go where you just
you can be like, we got a 355 gear and a 365 gear and a this and a that.
If you blow one, you have another one sitting there on the shelf ready to go, ready to throw in. You can't do that with a GM.
That's why a quick change is so much easier. All you do is change your gear set in the back to change your ratio.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's so much more complications than the rear. But I mean, if I want to be able to keep the stance of that Nova, I have to go with a solid rear. And, it's way too tempting to be able to get anywhere from 5 to 1,000 horsepower and it be turnkey reliable. You're not going to get that with a small block or even a big block classic car. You know, as much as I love those engines, they're not going to be turnkey reliable every day.
Not on pump gas.
Mr. Pilot?
Yes.
Would you raise your hand? Well, both hands. Are you giving up or?
Well, I are the gear sets different ratios, different prices, or is it?
Honestly, I can't tell you off the top of my head. I haven't ever necessarily shopped for gear sets because all my cars have the stock gear sets for the rears that are in the car.
I'm just wondering.
They're pretty comparable. It just depends on where you get them and what you're looking to do with it and what they're made out of.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I don't think that the different rear gear ratios would be different because it's still the same amount of part and it's still the same process.
Yeah, I mean they're comparably priced. I think the biggest determining factor now would be what material you make it out of. You know, whether you just go with a simple stamped steel or go high bore, high end and go titanium.
Yeah, and whether or not it's CNC'd or just
Yeah, it's been machined, stamped, mold, cast, or whatever.
So manufacturing process. I don't think that the price would be determined by the ratio
what ratio
itself.
You're asking for.
Just the quality of the part.
I think so. I'm just curious. I was just wondering.
But hey, there's no wrong question. And that actually makes, this live stream easier. Obviously the more we talk and the more questions are asked, the better the discussion.
Okay.
So yeah, nothing wrong with asking questions. I mean, that's where we all got where we're at. I'm not an expert either.
I would say the biggest determining factor now would be, is it street use or race use?
Yeah.
It's going to make, how do they determine what's it segmented or directed at? Because anything that's quote unquote racing only, it seems like the price tag jumps at least $100 on most.
Yeah, anything. I mean, I'm sure, and because the other thing is what's only used on a racetrack is not going to see the same conditions that you would on a street. And you would think that a racetrack would be more abusive, and yes, it is, but it's the same type of abuse all the time. Whereas the abuse you get on the street may not be as extreme as a racetrack, but there's so many different types of abuse.
Yeah. Suspension on a racetrack's got to deal with, high-speed turns and
it depends on
maybe rumble strips, curb. Well, the curves they have on the side of the track and maybe occasional grass. But street suspension's got to deal with imperfections in the road or something in the road.
Pennsylvania potholes big enough to swallow your whole car.
I said what's in the road, not when the road's not there. But I guess that's fair enough.
That's half of Pennsylvania. Half of
Pennsylvania. That's half the roads around here.
Dude, if I would have shown you 81 between Wilkes-Barre and Pottsville before they did this major reconstruction that they're doing right now, my God, you had to literally play. It was like playing Frogger, trying to cross Frogger, but with your car going down a single lane in the highway. You were doing one of these. You're trying to
going all over the road.
You're trying to straddle potholes.
Slalom course.
Huh?
Slalom
course.
Yeah, basically. And I mean, and the thing is it tried changing from one lane to the other was just as much as playing Russian roulette as staying in your own lane, because most of the time that seam in between the two was worse than the actual road surface. So try and change lanes, like say you got a slow truck in front of you, or you're trying to change lanes to let people on that are coming onto the highway.
Yeah.
You were lucky if just crossing that dashed white line didn't throw you a wheel or a tire.
Good Lord.
Well, I've passed stretches on the highway where you just leave like 5-6 cars off to the side of the road, all with the same issue because they all hit the same pothole.
Oh my God.
It just takes them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, right in a row. Just
bang, done.
Yep. You just 6 cars right in a row with blown tires. Just boom.
That's wild.
And you hit hard. I mean, you're talking like 3-4 inches deep, and sometimes 12 to 15 inches long.
Jesus.
They're bad.
It's not a pothole. That's a feeding trough.
Well, that's what I'm telling you when I said Pennsylvania potholes. I didn't say regular potholes.
Dude, we had one in front of when I was still employed by Walmart.
They come in gangs. We don't get a single pothole.
Well, we don't get potholes like that all the time, but we get them in like places like around storm drains. Dude, or just in some random location.
Well, you can have 15 to 20 potholes in 15 to 20 feet.
That's a gaggle of potholes.
We have that in some places around here.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
On the road between my town and the next town over, if you're on the way back, and as you're coming up to this 3-way intersection, you gotta like it's like high speed, so there's a split lane for people who are turning that way or whatever. And you gotta like hug the double yellow line, or if you don't, you're gonna run over 5 consecutive potholes that are just in a line for whatever reason. No other reason than to inconvenience you.
Well, because they were all done. That piece of road was all done at the same time by the same incompetent freaking road crew, and all subjected to the same type of freaking weather forces. And so, yeah, they all failed the same way.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what it is. It's just, you know, they've had some really bad road construction in the past, and that's why this whole fucking highway looks like this, because it's the same thing. And a lot of times what happens is they won't actually pull the whole road surface up. They'll patch the pothole, and the patch will come right back in the fuck out.
Oh, yeah.
The next winter, the plow trucks will come by and rip the patch right out.
Yeah.
You know, because what happens is it'll still get ice, it'll still get water that goes underneath of it, and then when it freezes, it pushes it up.
Yeah, frost wedging.
Yeah, and then the plow truck comes by, catches it, and rips it out.
Yeah. Hell, half the time they do better to, you know, not pave the road at all and leave it a dirt road, because if you drive on a dirt road enough, it gets pretty smooth.
Sure, Chris would not agree with that.
It depends on what you're driving down the dirt road.
Well, considering most of that highway is all freaking big rigs, I'm sure that road
then that would not be very smooth.
I don't think that road would last very long.
No, not that road.
Or dirt. It would be well rutted and muddy very quickly.
Yeah.
Fords are never used as bounce cars.
Bounce cars.
Pilot, explain yourself. Because I just realized that was you that said it.
Yeah. Well, the lowrider things that.
Oh. Yeah, the lowrider
shit.
Air ride, the air bouncy things.
Nah, people have done it before.
I think a Ford Galaxy has been done like that. But the problem
Ford Galaxy, I think it's popular with Crown Vics too.
The newer Crown Vics.
Well,
like
yeah.
The 90s. But as far as classic cars, I mean, there's a reason why the Impalas and stuff are done like that, because the suspensions are easy. You know, and that's a lot of it. It's part, you know, when it becomes a fad, you see people that do the same cars. His reason is because the engineering and the technology has already been figured out. So the next person to copy it doesn't have to figure all of that out.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you see certain things, it's the same thing over and over again. It's because that person doesn't have to do all of the engineering. The first person to do it, you know, like, well, let's just use Street Speed 717's turbo kit. Why did it take so long for him to get his turbo car back? Why? Because the company he sent it to, which was LMR, used his car as the prototype to make the template for that twin turbo setup.
Yeah.
So not only did they just have to figure out how to do it, like Amelia Earhart's one, they were just trying to get the first person to have twin turbos on. There wasn't a bunch of engineer. I mean, there was some basic engineering, but it wasn't how can we reproduce this kind of engineering.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, we got to get this out quick, so we're the first.
Yeah. Whereas LMR, they were building a product, which is why if you look at Mike's setup, it's really, really sweet looking. Now, it's not saying that Amelia's didn't work or it was worse or not as good. It was
just something different.
Yeah, it was a different type of engineering. It was, can we do this? Not, can we do this a lot?
Yeah.
So you guys watch YouTube?
Yeah.
Generally.
Constantly.
I kind of make my living off of it, so I'm kind of on it a lot. I gave up. I have not had cable television since. I have not had legit cable television since I moved out of my parents' house, and I have not had my satellite TV since for the last probably 15 years. So I don't see the point in buying cable television. I'm never home enough for me to justify the cost for cable television.
Yeah.
So, and I also have ADD, so to sit down and watch a half-hour show with commercials, where literally the whole point of the show is to drag you through several commercials, it doesn't appeal to me. Now, YouTube, yes, has commercials in it, but A, I can skip them, and
most of the time.
B, their TV shows are not based around those ads. You know, the YouTube shows are not based around the ads.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not dragging it out and giving you this little tease to get you through to the next ad. You know, I mean, some of the channels, yes, there are clickbaity freaking, like, where they purposely, whatever the thumbnail is or the title, where they purposely freaking hint at it the whole video just to get you to watch the whole video. Yes, there are YouTubers out there that do that. A lot of the automotive YouTubers don't do that. But I watch a lot of woodworking and arts and craftsy stuff, and that made it sound really like whatever. But like I'm big into art. I'm big into creating things. So if pretty much anything where somebody is creating or fixing or making something, I tend to watch it. And I watch video game stuff, but you know, I don't watch a lot of the filler fluff stuff you see on YouTube. Unless it's car crashes.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to watch the car crash compilations. I don't know why. It's a morbid fascination.
Yeah.
My current wife, I love her, but she has worn out 2 remotes.
I can't watch TV.
Switching channels back and forth.
That's the reason why I can't do it. I can't, because I wouldn't ever stay on one. Like, even YouTube. I'll get halfway through a video and get bored and go to switch something else. I can't sit there and watch. And the other thing that sucks about TV is I can't watch TV when I want to. I mean, yeah, now you got the freaking whatever, the on-demand crap, but you still got to sit there, find it, and then freaking record it, and then wait for it, and then watch it. And just randomly surf YouTube, and whatever pops up, and I watch it.
True.
You know, it fits my ADD better.
True statement.
So, and you know, also every time I'm watching YouTube, it's also learning, because you see what one person does. These are all creators, just like me. You know, they all started as a guy or a gal with some sort of video recording device and some sort of way of editing it. Whether it was literally just putting all of the clips together and throwing it up on YouTube, or actually cutting and splicing and doing color correction and you know, adding elements that are more than what you recorded, you know, having B-roll or whatever. Making YouTube videos could be as simple as literally putting video clips together or recording something all in one go, which if you can record a 10-minute video all in one go, my hats are off to you. I can't do it because I screw up too much. But it's a rabbit hole. You can go as simple or as complicated as you want. I have a basically $1,600 freaking computer sitting here, and I could still make it better. And honestly, for really hard stuff, I'm just scratching the surface of what I can do, because I guarantee you this software definitely pushes this computer.
Yeah.
So running this program that I'm using right now on an ordinary desktop that you would have, like, I guarantee you probably could not run this software on the computer you got right now, Pilot. And it's nothing against your computer. Your computer could do what you need it to do just fine. But it's like asking a Chevy Chevette to beat a full-blown race car down the freaking drag strip. It just can't do it. You know? There's nothing wrong with that Chevette. It runs just fine. It gets you back and forth to work. It doesn't use a whole lot of gas. You know? It does what it's supposed to do. This computer
does what it's advertised to do.
Exactly. This computer is a different monster. You know, it looks, you know, obviously you look at it, it doesn't look anything different than another gaming computer like it, but, you know, it's...
I'm really not into gaming.
Huh? Well, gaming is more, not necessarily, you don't have to be into gaming to understand, just gaming takes a lot of computer horsepower. You know, it takes a lot more horsepower to game than it does to surf the internet and watch YouTube. And you know, use Word or Excel. Those are really like low horsepower programs versus like what I do. You know, it takes a lot more power to do the things that I do. And the thing is this computer looks no different than the first time I built this computer at the end of last year. But it can run circles around the computer that I built just in December.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I didn't realize that when I first built this and I started up this program, because I built that computer because I was going to run this program, and I knew that computer, this computer I have sitting over here, could not handle that software. Couldn't do it. It could barely handle freaking running Windows right now. But when I first started this computer with the Ryzen 5 2600 and the AMD, what was it, the RX 570?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the 570. When I started it, it would not run that program. It would lock the whole computer up because it was trying to do too much work than it was capable of doing.
Yeah.
And so I had to upgrade. I threw another $800 at it. It can now, I would say, it doesn't run circles with that program, but it can at least maintain a steady pace.
Yeah.
And that's an expensive computer, as far as non-extras go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, geez, you throw water cooling and a lot more RGB than this one's got at it, and you can easily have a $3,000 computer.
Oh yeah.
But for minimalistic as this computer is, it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, gotta do, I gotta, you know, that's part of those things, you know, like these making videos and all that. That's why everybody pushes, if you watch YouTube videos, you see them have, you know, sponsors and things like that, because it costs a lot of money when you start getting more in depth than the basics.
Yeah.
You know, sure, I can grab, are they over here? Where did I put them? Oh, you know, I can grab an old cell phone and use it as a video camera. They're already bought and paid for. They don't cost me anything.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, actually, this one's about to become a YouTube camera as well. But, you know, they're already bought and paid for. They don't cost me anything. You know, you can go out there with your regular everyday phone and go record YouTube videos.
Well, yeah.
90% of my videos have been recorded on a cell phone. You know?
Yeah.
But it's when you get above just putting the clips together and then making them one video. When you get above just doing that, you know, depending on how much you want to go down the rabbit hole, it can get expensive and time consuming. You know, not to mention, depending on what you're filming, can cost you. Like, geez, if I was filming something that I didn't have to pay for, you know, there's plenty of YouTube channels out there that do that as well. You know, there's plenty of YouTube channels where they just grab other people's clips and mash them together and make compilations and make freaking, lots of views. They have no money invested other than their editing software and computer. Versus somebody like me that's doing automotive work. Automotive parts are expensive. Sandpaper, even if you're doing like auto body, sandpaper, Bondo,
Yeah.
all of that stuff costs money. That's all things that you have to pay for before you make a profit. So that's why I said, like I was talking about earlier, about, maybe streaming to 3 different channels at once. Problem with that is, if that's $19 a month, I have to sit here and assume that I can make back $19 a month to cover that cost. Otherwise, it's not it's not efficient for me.
Yeah, it's not cost effective.
Otherwise I'm bleeding $19 every month.
Yeah.
So, I'm already bleeding because it costs me $20 a month to be able to have access to the music that I use to put in my videos. Whether I use it or not, it's $20 a month, every month, to be able to have decent music in my videos. Not my live streams, because I don't put music in my live streams. But when I edit videos. TubeBuddy cost me $20 a month to have access to information that the regular YouTube doesn't give me. So it gives me access to, like, I can see what other tags other people put in their videos, things like that. It gives me different algorithms and different charts and graphs that YouTube doesn't give that are helpful. Things like that. What's another one? Streamlabs itself, I have to pay money per year to be able to have, like, little moving stuff in the background and all of that that's in my live streams. That costs me money.
Yeah.
I don't make that money back necessarily off of my live streams. I make it back in other places, but not off my live streams. But all right. I think I'm going to call it a night, though, guys.
Well, so who wants to hear my story here tonight?
All right, go ahead.
Did I fly a plane? Yes, I did. I probably have. The way this started out was,
We're talking about the story of how you got your name, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Just clarify.
I went to get my private pilot's license because my son moved to south of Chicago. My daughter was in Indianapolis, actually. And I thought, well, that's a lot of driving. So I was close to retirement. I thought, well, I'll just get my pilot's license and we can fly there. Okay, that was cool. However, my daughter moved back to Wisconsin. My son moved back to Wisconsin. I probably have. I do not have my private pilot's license, and I'm not going to say that I do. But I probably have like 17 hours of instruction. And that's about it. I mean, this is how I started this name on my channel.
Right.
So, that's it. And now I have no reason to fly anymore. I have no place to go anymore. So I don't fly anymore.
Yeah.
Oh. So we just all been calling it's what do they call it? My brain is not working.
Something.
Think of the word that I want to say. Well, I mean, it's just kind of like my name, NOVAtazz. I don't even have. I mean, I have my Nova, but it's not even on the road.
But you're not a Tasmanian devil.
Well, no, I was as a kid. My mom's the one that gave me the nickname Taz. So like way back when, I was just Taz 24313 as my gamer tag.
Yeah.
And it was when I got the Nova that all my friends started calling me Nova, and when I had to come up with a new gamer tag, I just stuck the two together and dropped the numbers. But all right, I think I'm going to sign off. It's midnight. I have work in the morning. So we'll say our goodbyes, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Alrighty, it was good to be here.
Well, good to have you here as well.
Good to have you up here.
And thank you, Carl, for hanging out with us all night. And we'll catch you next week.